गूंगा हुआ बाबरा, बहरा हुआ कान, पावों ते पिंगल पाया, मारिया सतगुरु बान। कबीर सतगुर सूर में, बाह्या बान जो एक, लागत ही पोए गिर परया, परा करे जे छेक। कबीर निर्मल बूंद आकाश की, पर गई भूम बेकार। बिन संगत क्यों मानई, होए गई पट छार। कबीर निर्मल बूंद आकाश की, लीनी भूम मिलाए। अनक सियाने पच गए, ना निर्वारी जाए। कबीर हज कवे हों जाए था, आगे मिलया खुदाए। साईं मुझ स्यों लर परया, तुझे किन फुरमाही गाय। कबीर हज कवे होए गया, केती बार कबीर। साईं मुझ में क्या खता, मुखों न बोले पीर। कबीर जी जो मार है जोर कर, कहते हैं जो हलाल। दफ्तर दई जब कार्ड है, होएगा कौन हवाल। कबीर जोर किया सो जुल्म है, ले जवाब खुदाए। दफ्तर लेखा नीक से, मार मुहे मोहे खाए। कबीर लेखा देना सुहेला, जो दिल सूची होए। उस साचे दीवान में, पल्ला न पकड़े कोय। कबीर धरती और आकाश में है, दोए तू बरी अवध। खट दर्शन संसे परे, और 84 सिद्ध। कबीर मेरा मुझ में किछ नहीं, जो किछ है सो तेरा। तेरा तुझको सौंपते, क्या लागे मेरा। कबीर तू करता तू हुआ, मुझ में रहा न हूँ। जब आपा पर का मिट गया, जत देखो तत तू। कबीर बिकार है चितवते, झूठे करते आस। मनोरथ कोई न पूर्यो, चाले उठ निराश। कबीर हर का सिमरन जो करे, सो सुखिया संसार। इत उत कतह न डोलई, जिस राखै सिरजनहार। कबीर कहानी पीड़ते, सतगुर लिए छड़ाए। परा पूर्वली पावनी, परगट होई आए। कबीर टाले टोले दिन गया, ब्याज बढ़न तो जाए। ना हर भजियो ना खत फटियो, काल पहुँचो आए। महला पंजवा कबीर पुकर पौंकना, करंग पिछे उठता है। कर्मी सतगुर पाया, जिन्हों लिया छड़ाए। महला पंजवा कबीर धरती साध की, तस्कर बैसह गाहे। धरती पार न व्यापई, उनको लाहू लाहे। महला पंजवा कबीर चावल कारने, दुख को मोहली लाए। संग कुसंगी बैसते, तब पूछे धर्मराय। नमा माया मोहया, कहे तिलोचन मीत। कहे छिपो छाले, राम न लावो चीत। नमा कहे तिलोचना, मुख ते राम समाल, हाथ पाँव कर काम सब, चीत निरंजन नाल। महला पंजवा। कबीरा हमरा को नहीं, हम किस हूँ के नाहे। जिन्हें हो रचन रचाया, तिस ही माहे समाए। कबीर कीचड़ आटा गिर परया, किछु न आयो हाथ। पीसत पीसत जावया, सोई निभया साथ। कबीर मन जाने सब बात, जानत ही औगन करे। काहे की कुसलात, हाथ दीप कुएं पर। कबीर लागी प्रीत सुजान, स्यों बरजै लोग अजान। तांस्यों टूटी क्यों बने, जाके जी परान। कबीर कोठे मंडप हेत कर, काहे मरहों सवार। कारज साढ़े तीन हथ, कनीता पौने चार। कबीर जो मैं चितवो ना करे, क्या मेरे चितवे होए। अपना चितव्या हर करे, जो मेरे चित ना होए। महला तीजा। चिंता पे आप कराए सी, अचिंत पिया पे दे। नानक सो सलाही यह जे सबना, सार करे। महला पंजवा। कबीर राम ना चेत्यो, फिरया लालच माहे। पाप करंता मर गया, औध पुन्नी खिन माहे। कबीर काया काची कारवी, केवल काची तात। साबत रखै तां राम भज, नाहे तां बिनठी बात। कबीर केसो को कियै, ना सोइयै आसार। रात दिवस के कूकने, कभू के सुने पुकार। कबीर काया कजली बन पया, मन कुंचर में मंत। अंकस ज्ञान रत्न है, खेवट बिरला संत। कबीर राम रतन मुख कोथरी, पारख आगे खोल। कोई आए मिले गो गाहकी, ले गो महंगे मोल। कबीर राम नाम जान्यो नहीं, पाल्यो कटक कुटुंब। धंधे ही मैं मर गयो, बाहर पही न बंब। कबीर आखी के रे माट के, पल पल गई।
Hello everyone, welcome to today's satsang. Can you hear me? Yes, okay. So today's Shabad is by Jayashree ji. She is going to sing Radha Swami, Dhara Nar Roop Jagat Mein, which means Radha Swami has taken a human form. Then we have a talk by Michael. Then Prempal ji is going to give a talk on the Shabad that Jayashree ji shall be singing. He will explain the concept of God, PLM, and disciples through the Shabad. Then we will proceed with the short dhyan session. Then we will watch Ishwarji's YouTube video. Then we all will meditate together. I won't be reading the translation of the Shabad as Prempal ji has based his talk upon that. Now I request Jayashree ji to unmute herself and start the Shabad. Thank you.
Radha Swamiji, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is a Shabad of Swamiji Maharaj. Little long, but it's very nice. Radha Swami dhara nar roop jagat mein. Radha Swami dhara nar roop jagat mein. Guru hoye jeev chitaye. गुरु होए जीव चिताए जिन जिन माना वचन समझ के तिनको संग लगाए तिनको संग लगाए कर सत संग सार रस पाया कर सत संग सार रस पाया पी पी तृप्त घाए पी पी तृप्त घाए राधा स्वामी धरा नर रूप जगत में गुरु संग प्रीत करियो ऐसी जस चकोर चंदाई गुरु बेन प्रीत करियो ऐसी जस चकोर चंदाई जस चकोर चंदाई गुरु बिन कल नहीं पढ़ते घड़ी एक गुरु बिन कल नहीं जब गुरु दर्शन मिले भाग से, मगन होत जैसे बछड़ा गाय। जब गुरु दर्शन मिले भाग से, मगन होत जैसे बछड़ा गाय। मगन होत जैसे बछड़ा गाय। ऐसी प्रीत लगी जिन गुरमुख, ऐसी प्रीत लगी जिन गुरमुख। सो सो गुरु अपनाए, सो सो गुरु अपनाए। तन की लगन भोग इंद्री के, छिन में सब बिसराए। छिन में सब बिसराए। गुरु की मूरत बसी में, गुरु की मूरत बसी में। आठ पहर गुरु संग रहाए, आठ पहर गुरु संग रहाए। राधा स्वामी घनानर रूप जगत में, अस गुरु भक्ति करी जिन पूरी। ते ते नाम समाए, ते ते नाम समाए। स्वाति बूंद जस रटत पपीहा, स्वाति बूंद जस रटत पपीहा। अस धन नाम लगाए, अस धन नाम लगाए। राधा स्वामी धरा नर रूप जगत में। नाम प्रताप सुरत अब जागी, तब घट शब्द सुनाए, तब घट शब्द सुनाए। शब्द पाए गुरु शब्द समानी, शब्द पाए गुरु शब्द समानी। सुन शब्द सत शब्द मिलाए, सुन शब्द सत शब्द मिलाए। अलख शब्द और अगम शब्द ले, निज पद राधा स्वामी आए। निज घर राधा स्वामी आए। पूरा घर पूरी गति पाई, पूरा घर पूरी गति पाई। अब कुछ आगे कहा ना जाए, अब कुछ आगे कहा ना जाए। राधा स्वामी धरा नर रूप जगत में, राधा स्वामी धरा नर रूप जगत में। गुरु होए जीव चिताए, गुरु होए जीव चिताए। राधा स्वामी धरा नर रूप जगत में। Radha Swamiji, thank you for Seva.
Thank you, dear sister. So nice to repose in your love for God, to repose in that beautiful godly sound that relaxes us into satsang, that here we gather in the assembly of the Sultan of Sultans. Our Sultan is a vast sea. Our Sultan is a vast sea of love. And here we gather to drink his wine that burns the mind. This wine, the ancient wine of ages, burns the mind, enlightens the heart, and frees us from the mud of existence. And we become soul. We become unchangeable permanence, living in God, in the kingdom of God. That take it for granted that when we assemble here in the name of our Holy Master, in the name of our Holy Masters, my Master Sant Thakar Singh and my Master Ishwar Puri Ji, and all the saints and true ones that we love, take it for granted when we gather in their name, we are reposing in God. In this hour or two that we gather together, mind is controlled. For the ones who want to drink the wine of eternity, the mind is controlled, love is showered, and spiritual growth is had. That the knowledge of the higher law is essential. The knowledge of the higher law is essential, as to live in ignorance in this world is a curse. To live the life of mind, the life of body, is a curse without the knowledge of the higher law of God. And this higher law of God cannot be taught in this world, cannot be taught in this world. Soul has to be connected with the kingdom of God, and then the higher knowledge of God descends on the soul, and the human being changes from ignorance into wisdom and into knowledge. That there is a story of Maulana Rumi, Shams Tabriz, who was the master of Maulana Rumi. One day he beseeched God and he prayed to God that give me a companion where I can recite the tale of love, where I can recite the path to love and the joy, the pangs of separation and the joys of meeting. Give me a companion that I can recite this tale of love to. And then God answered him and said, sure, I will answer your prayer, but there is a price to pay. Of course, Shams Tabriz knew what the price was and directly offered his head, which is his ego and egotism, to God, to his master. And then he was led to Konya. And in Konya, there was a renowned professor of philosophy, and his name was Rumi, Maulana Rumi. And he was sitting by a pool, pondering on some very, very valuable manuscripts that nobody had except him. And when Shams passed by him and told him, "What are you so busy with, pondering at?" And he said, "I have these manuscripts that are divine, that have divine mystery and knowledge in them, and I'm trying to solve them because no other professor could solve them, and I want to solve them. They are very, very great for the whole world if this mystery is unsolved." And then Shams, just who was wearing like tattered clothes, he was like uncouth, and smiled, and then went closer to him. And then Rumi said that, this knowledge you cannot grasp. What's in this divine manuscript, it's beyond you. This needs a very, very highly developed intellect to grasp this knowledge. It's beyond you. It's beyond you. Then Shams did not say anything, but he stepped towards him. He took a hold of the books and then threw them in the water. And as he was throwing them in the water, he was saying, divine knowledge is not contained in books. Then the books fell in the pool of water, and Rumi was so mad. He was so mad. He opened his mouth like that, and he said, "You uncouth dervish, what did you do to this world. So much knowledge, so much divine knowledge has been lost because of you. And then, as he was angrily cursing Shams, Shams put his hands in the pool and took the books, and the books were undamaged whatsoever, and gave them through me, and told him, you shouldn't break your heart on such children's toys. And then Rumi, once he saw that, he got mesmerized. He just knew that there is a pathway of knowledge that has been offered to him, that has come from the beyond. And you know the rest of the story, how Rumi got initiated by Shams, got mesmerized by Shams, and became a very renowned saint. That we always, up to this day, he left his mark on history, his divine mark on history, and we still read his divine poetry, his love to Shams, his love to his master, because he saw full God. He saw full God in his master. He saw full God in his master, and he learned that divine knowledge is not contained in books. Bulle Shah says, why dost thou read so many books and keep on adding suffering to yourself? That nothing, divine knowledge cannot be contained in books, that all these scriptures give a hint of the divine knowledge, but nobody understands it and nobody grasps it. The only way that we can grasp it is when we meet the wise one, when we meet our lovely one, and he connects us with the holy Shabd. And that holy Shabd that comes from kingdom of God has all knowledge, all bliss, all ecstasy, all everything, that all the secrets of creation are just contained in that Shabd. And when we start to listen to that Shabd, not only does it harmonize our body, not only does it burn our karma and take our suffering away, but it also slowly fills our cup with divine knowledge that cannot be had from this world. That this divine knowledge is only comes from the perfect one, from the Shabd, or his manifestation, the perfect one, which is the manifestation of Shabd. So when we gather here in this holy assembly of the Sultan of Sultans, there is a reason why we all gather here. And that reason is that our soul has cried. Nobody can be here in our assembly, in this circle of lovers, um, without his soul not have cried, that our soul has cried. And what was the cry of the soul? The cry of the soul was that I have served this world of dust. I have glorified the dust of this world and lost the glory of myself. Let me cry for myself for a moment. Let me cry for myself for a moment. This is the cry of the soul, that let me cry for myself for a moment, that I have suffered prisons of matter, which is the body, which is a big prison house. I have suffered prisons of matter for ages and ages. Now I want to find freedom. I want a glimpse of freedom from your ocean of love, O Master. That God has been merciful to me and led me to the perfect living Master. And now I can be free from this prison house of mud, that I have fought endless wars, and I have gone through endless tortures, and now is the time to repose in God. Now is the time to repose in God. And that's why we are all here. We are all here for this purpose, that we have suffered. We have served the region of ignorance and have been enslaved to the regions of ignorance. And now it is our time to repose in Father God lovely. That we have to marry God, that all our souls are female, all our souls are female, and we are to marry God. All of us have to marry the real one. And this marriage is not like the marriage of this world that is only for a short time period, but this marriage is for eternity. This marriage is for eternity, and it will take us to the timeless, the limitless one, beyond time and space. My master Sant Thakar Singh used to have a song, and he in his song he would pray for God, just give me a moment. Give me a moment in the kingdom of God. And he was very wise. He was very wise because he knew what this moment means. Because a moment that is beyond time and space, is a momentless moment that has no beginning and no end. That is why he was begging God for one moment in the kingdom of God that has no beginning and no end. That is eternity, to be in eternity with God. To have one moment in God, which is beyond space and time, is to be for eternity, forever, with God, to enjoy the highest bliss and the highest ecstasy. So that's why we are here. We are here. We are here because our soul has cried. Our soul has suffered ignorance. Life after life after life, suffered life after life after life. And now it said, no more suffering, no more misery, no more depression. It's time to be joyful. It's time to have endless joy, endless bliss, and endless love in the ocean of love of our Holy One, of our perfect living, of our perfect Master who lives in us eternally. So this is my introduction for today. That we are to yearn for the momentless moment, the unchangeable permanence of God and the kingdom of God. And that is the cry of our soul. Our soul has cried for so long. Now, no more crying. Now it's only joy, it's only bliss, and it's only God, and it's only in the kingdom of God. So take it for sure when you are in this holy assembly of the Sultan of Sultans, the King of Kings, that we are reposing in his lap. When we are here together, remembering the gorgeous one, the most beautiful one, we are in his lap. We are in his lap, and we are being showered with undescribable bliss, undescribable beauty of God and the kingdom of God. So now I'm going to play my dear brother Prempal, who always has a treasure house of wisdom that comes from the higher worlds, from the higher worlds of God. Okay, let me play Prempal.
Radha Swami, everyone. My today's topic is God, PLM, and disciple. In Punjabi, I will say Paramatma, Sant Satgur, ਅਤੇ Sevak. What is the difference between these three? In reality, there is no difference. At the end, there is one, they're all same. At different levels, the form is different. Like, for an example, like water. Water is liquid. If you freeze the water, it becomes ice. If you boil it, it becomes steam. Actually, water is just one, but the form of water is different at different levels. When Vaheguru Paramatma God created creation, before creating creation, he was one, he is still one. To create a creation, that was his moj. That was his moj. When he created creation, before that, he was just by himself. As Pani of Guru Granth Sahib Ji and other Panis of other saints say. With his moj, he created. From one, he became many. To become one to many, that was his moj. That he created everything. then how we came here and how our soul came here. Those who wanted to come here for adventure, they came here. When our soul got trapped in three coverings, we always talk about these three coverings, how the soul got trapped in physical, astral, and causal. When soul left the Sachkhand, from Sachkhand it came down to Sohing Desh, from Sohing Desh to Par Brahm, that is beyond time and space. All this is a spiritual creation. The spiritual creation is beyond time and space. When soul was beyond time and space, we knew everything. Soul knew everything. Then after what happened? The creation that started from Brahm, from where time and space started. When that creation started, it started with the Shabad Om or Onkar or Hu. That Shabad created, the creation started from Brahma, Sahasdal Kamal, and all these physical planets that we see. When soul came down to Brahma, also known as universal mind, from there soul picked up the mind. When soul came down to astral level, from there soul picked up the sensory body. When soul came down to physical level, from here soul picked up the physical body. Physical body. That's how these covering trapped the soul. Now soul had forgotten everything. In other words, I can say awareness. We lost our awareness. As Ishwar Puri Ji Maharaj used to say, we are still in Sachkhand, but we lost the awareness. Why we lost the awareness? We lost the awareness because of these three coverings. Because we went here since many yugas. Many yugas. Soul don't even know the way back home, how to go back home. Then how we go back home? Then who will take us? The one, soul came from Sachkhand. Someone need to come from Sachkhand to take the soul back to Sachkhand because he knows the way back to Sachkhand. He knows how to go. Then who comes? The God comes here as a perfect living master. He comes here as a perfect living master to pick up those souls who want to go back. Those seekers who are seeking. When their seeking becomes high enough, then he will know it who wants to come back home. Then he will come as a perfect living master and pick up all the soul that wants to go back to Sachkhand. As Guru Maharaj Baba Saban Singh Ji used to tell a story in his Punjabi satsang, that there was a king. He has a big kingdom and big palace. He has a daughter. He has a princess who was living in that palace enjoying the blissful state. Outside that palace, there was a servant who used to do the cleanup. So one day, the soul's princess saw that person, saw that servant who was doing the cleanup. She fell in love with him and took off with him. And what happened? She kept doing the same thing what that servant was doing, cleanup and other things. After many, many years, she realized that I left my dad, I left my palace, I'm a princess, then why I'm with him? She wanted to go back. She started crying. And she saw someone. And that guy asked him, why are you crying? He said, I left my dad, I left my palace, I'm a princess. I need to go back. Then he said, okay, I'll let your dad know. That guy left. What is the meaning of that story that Guru Maharaj Baba Saban Singh used to say? The meaning is, when soul was in Sachkhand, we were in a blissful state. When soul came down to Brahm or universal mind, then she picked up the mind from there. She got trapped with the mind, and mind, he loved to do different kind of things. Then pick up the astral body and the physical body. Then we are here in a physical form. Then why Master come here? Because of our seeking. Because of our seeking. If we don't feel like to go back, then no Master will pick you up. Then your name won't be in the list. Then how everything happened? What is the difference between God, Perfect Living Master, disciples? Practically no difference. आपे करता पुरख विधाता, जिन अपने आप उपाय पछाता, आपे सतगुर आपे सेवक आपे श्रेष्ठ उपाय है. Baba Nanak Ji says in Vani of Shri Guru Granth Sahib, Ape Karta Purkha Vidata. He is the one who created everything. And he is the one who did everything. He is the one who came up with a solution how to go back. Ape Satgur, Ape Sevak, Ape Sreshta Pai. He is God. He is Master. He is the one who created the creation, and he is in every single species as a soul. As a soul. He is in every one of us. Then what is the difference? As Ishwapuri Maharaj used to say, the difference is the awareness. Difference is the awareness. Then how we recognize him, how we go back? We came from Sachkhand. Someone has to come back from Sachkhand to take us back. Because he knows the journey back. Then Perfect Living Master will come. Vaheguru Paramatma, God will come as a Perfect Living Master. Radha Swami Tara Roop Jag mein, Radha Swami Tara Nar Roop Jagat mein, Guru hoye jeev chitaye, jin jin manna bachan samjh ke tinko sang lagaye. Swamiji Maharaj says, Radha Swami means Vaheguru Paramatma or God. Radha Swami came here as a Perfect Living Master. Those who accepted his word as a divine command are blessed with his company, with his companionship. Those who trust him, those who trust Perfect Living Master, they will get his blessings. Perfect Living Master know who the seeker is. Perfect Living Master will pull us with his unconditional love. Unconditional love. Then eventually, we will go to his satsang and everything. Finally, he will give us initiation and he will explain us how to go back. And he will tell us, going back, the path of the Master, everything is inside of us. That path is Surt Shabd Jog, light and sound meditation. Because Satguru know our seeking. Why who got trapped? Because when soul come in Brahm, from where time and space started. As Vishesh Paji is giving us a beautiful discourse from Anurag Sagar, everything was done. Whatever is in time and space, that is under the territory of Kal or Niranjan. And how he got all this? Khand Patal Deep Sab Loa Kale Bas Aap Prabh Kiya. God did it, gave him as he wanted. That he want his own creation. He wants something where he commands. No one interfere. That's how this physical and all these planes were created with the Shabd. That's his territory. And everyone is stuck in time and space. Baba Jagfatha Mahakal. Baba Nanak Ji says, Baba Jagfatha Mahakal. We are stuck with this time and space. Baba Jagpata Mahachar. He has such a program that most soul can't even leave. Even if we leave, go up to sub-astral, then we get there, enjoy the blissful state. But still, we are in time and space. When you get there, the astral level or the first level, Turiya Pad, Sansdal Kamal is so beautiful that most people, most even saint, think this is the end of the journey. This is the end of the journey. Only perfect living master know this is not the end of the journey. There is many things beyond it. As Swamiji Maharaj says, many saints stay there and they think that he is God and this is Sachkhand. That's the end of the journey. And Swamiji Maharaj says, मुर्शिद आगे का उनको मिला नहीं, मुर्शिद आगे का मिलता तो रास्ता खुलता. Swamiji Maharaj says, they never could find particular like a master who knows up to Brahm, Parbrahm, Sohangdesh and Sachkhand. If they had that kind of particular master, they might have gone beyond time and space. From time and space. But if you find a particular master, he will take you. He will take you back home. Lekin he will explain you that everything is inside, not outside. Karhi andar sacha soi, Gurmukh birla buje soi. Guru Amardas Ji says, everything is inside us. Gurmukh birla, chosen few understand it. Those who get a company of the purple leg master, they are the one who can understand it, that how to go with him and how to see him. And Baba Sahib Singh Ji used to explain that everything is inside. And all the satsang is, yes. And one time what happened, one of the disciples of Baba Sahib Singh Ji, he died. What happened is, as we heard the stories, even there are movies made on that idea, that all those Jamdoots who come from Kal Bhagwan, they took him by mistake. They were supposed to take another person with the same name, but they took him by mistake. When they took him to Dharmraj, and Dharmraj saw his roster or register, he said, why you bring him here? This is the wrong person. And also, all his account has already been transferred to Baba Sahib Singh. You are not even supposed to bring him here. He is a disciple of Purple Living Master. Send him back ASAP and bring the other guy who has the same name. And the guy whom he took by mistake, he asked Dharmraj Ji, I heard stories that there is a heaven, there is all those things. Can I see it? Dharmraj Ji said, of course, you can see it. They took him to a beautiful place, heavenly places and everything. And he was looking and enjoying all those beautiful things and even banquet. And all of a sudden, after a few minutes, Baba Sahib Singh, he appeared right before him. He said, what you doing here? They brought you by mistake. At the physical level, all your relative and family is ready to give you funeral. You better go back quick and leave everything. Then he said, Babaji, I will. Let me know something. You always says in your satsang that everything is inside, but everything is outside. I see it. And I see you, I see all those beautiful things, they are outside. Baba said, no, these are inside. He said, no, Babaji, you are standing here, I see everything outside. Then Baba said, okay. Baba Sahib said, saying he opened up his mouth, he said, come inside me. He went inside Baba Sahib saying again what he saw. That Baba Sahib Singh is standing here, he is standing there. He said, yes, Baba, now I understand. He said, go back to your body. So everything is inside, nothing is outside. The light and sound meditation path is also inside. We cannot find anything outside. We have to go inside to find it. Lekin, how it happens? How it becomes possible for us to go back home? only our seeking and the blessings and the grace. Tumri kirpa te tut pashana. With your grace, with your blessing, I understood who you are. When we understand Satguru, Master, then we will understand who is God and who He are. Who He are. Then we will understand with His grace, with His blessing. Sat Purush Jan Janaya, Satgur Tiska Naam. Those who understand, those who discover God, what they discover, Sat Purush Jan Janaya, Satgur Tiska Naam. Those who discover God, they realize He is the Master. There is no difference between God and Master. हर का सेवक से हर जेहा भेद न जानो मानुस देहा. There is no difference between God and perfect living Master, Param Sant Satguru. भेद न जानो मानुस देहा. He has to come here as a physical form because there is no other way to explain us who He are. That's why He comes here just like us. Because when He became from one to many, from Nirgun to Sargun, Sargun means just like every one of us, then He has to come here as a Sargun just like other, just like ordinary human being. He comes here as an ordinary human in a physical form. So you can understand Him. From physical to astral to causal and beyond time and space. When you keep making progress inside, then you will know it. At physical level, Satguru is physical. Satguru is physical. Inside, astral level, causal level, you will see Him. And when you go beyond time and space, far from, there is no sensory body, there is no physical body, there is no mind. Then you will say, there is no difference between Satguru, you and Vaheguru. There's no difference when you're beyond time and space or Par Brahm. Nanak Sode Simrit Ved, Par Brahm Gur Nahi Ped. Par Brahm Gur Nahi Ped. Then you will realize and understand everything. How we get trapped from Par Brahm to universal mind and astral and physical. Going back, we have to go in a reverse. We have to go in a reverse. Like if you catch a flight from San Francisco to New York, coming back you have to start your journey from New York back to San Francisco. San Francisco. We have to start our journey. When we came, how we came? We came from Sachkhand to Sohang Desh, Par Brahm, Brahm, Sansdal Kamal and Sthul Jagat the physical. And going back, what we have to do? We have to go in a reverse order. From physical to astral to causal. As Chand Bhardwaj says, physical mind, physical body. Andi Pindi Man, Andi Man, Brahmandi Man. Because we are trapped because of the mind, we have to use the mind till you cross the universal mind. Till you cross the universal mind. Because mind is given to us as a beautiful tool to use. Because we are stuck in time and space, we have to use the same mind to go back home. And mind has a lot of faculties. मन तो ज्योत स्वरूप है अपना मूल पहचान. Mind, you are a Jyot Swarup. You need to understand your base. Means you are a part of the universal mind. And as Maharaj Chand Singh ji used to say, मन को मामूली चीज नहीं, ये ब्रह्म दी अंश है. Same, Atma Paramatma the अंश, as a soul is a unit of totality of consciousness. Our mind is also a unit of universal mind. Universal mind. Whatever is in universal mind is in mind. Whatever is in totality of consciousness is also in a soul. So we have to use our mind from physical level. At physical level, our body is physical, our mind is physical. We do all those things. Lust, desire, anger, kam, krodh, lobh, moh, ahankar, all these things. When you start doing meditation, then the condition of the mind starts improving. Because when we start doing a meditation, then we start listening to the sound of kind of we see beautiful things inside, the mind that was running outside will come back inside. Come back inside. Because mind and body never stays at one place. Physically, you may be sitting in a satsang, but your mind will be somewhere else. Bani of Baba Nanak ji says, "Eh mere man pardesiya, eh aa apne ghare wapas aao, my mind foreigner, please come back to your own place." That means when you do meditation, mind and physical bodies will be at one. If you're sitting in a physical body, your mind is somewhere else, then you don't get much progress. When you concentrate your mind at the third eye center, Anjana Chakra, also known as seat of the soul, then you will find getting some result. Everything has to be together. Like, if there is a seed of a corn, if you want to sow that seed, you need to sow that seed as a whole, as is. If you break that corn seed into 4 pieces and you try to sow those 4 pieces differently, nothing will grow. Nothing will grow. The seed has to be as one piece, then it will grow. Mind is split up. If you split up the seed of that corn seed in 4 pieces and you sow them, you will get nothing. Nothing will grow. Our mind is also split up into 4 functions. That's known as man, buddh, chit, ahing. Man is split up into 4 functions. What is man? Man means mind. Mind is a thinking machine. All kind of ideas keep coming in our mind. That's thinking machine, the mind. What is the buddh? Is the consciousness part of the mind. What is chit? Chit is the memory part of the mind. Sometimes you go back in the past to start thinking about your college time, your childhood time, your youth time, and all those. And 4th one is ahing, egoism. That's very dangerous. When we grow old, it does not mean mind becomes more mature. Absolutely not. When we grow old, most older people who are even 100-year-old and ask them what they are thinking, most of the time they will be thinking about their childhood or youth. Mind always stays in the past or mind will go in the future. Mind never stays at present. But Vaheguru Paramatma is in present. Present means Vartaman Vich Vartada. Bhai Gurdas Ji says, you have to at present. And where the present is. Like Neil Ji gave a very beautiful talk today. I'm so much impressed. And what is time to time awareness? Either we are in the past, either we are in the future. Then where is the present? Present is where is no time. That means beyond time and space. Beyond time and space. There is no time. No time. We have to cross. Because still universal mind, we are still in time and space. But we have to use the mind. Like if you sow the corn seed, split up in 4 pieces, won't grow. Has to be one. Mind has to become one. Like man, buddha, chit, aham. We have to concentrate our mind at the third eye center. Then we will start getting some results. That is what you call dhyan. It can be possible only. Simran and dhyan is the tool to concentrate mind. As Maharaj Chan Singh Ji used to say, Simran nu Simran kattega, dhyan nu dhyan kattega. Simran will cut the Simran, dhyan or concentration will cut the concentration. Simran means to remember someone. If you don't have a master, you will keep remembering some other friends and family. Keep thinking about someone else. If we have a personal ego master, you repeat the Shabad or mantra, then you concentrate at the third eye center and focus on the Swarupa of your master, or contemplate at master space. That will help you to concentrate at the third eye level. Then your mind becomes concentrated. Then slowly your journey will start from there. Once you see your master inside in a Nuri Swarupa or radiant form, and that form becomes still, then you can stop the repetition of mantra. Then after that, the sound current, the radiant form of the master and you travel together in higher regions. Shabad, mantra, Guru mantra will take you up to some place, up to some level. But when you see master inside and when you start listening to the sound current, then you don't need to repeat the mantra. As Baba Sahib Singh used to say, once you see me inside, once you find me inside, your job will start and stop and my job will start. And Baba Sahib Singh used to say, it is my responsibility once you find me inside to take you to Sachkhand. So we have to concentrate at the third eye center and focus at master's space. And once you see light and everything inside, then the journey becomes easy. And when you go beyond time and space, when you cross Brahm, then there's no difference. But journey has to be started from the physical. As I said, we have to go in a reverse order, from physical to astral and causal. Pindiman, Andiman, Brahmandiman. When you keep doing meditation, the condition of the mind start improving. It becomes Andiman, astral mind. When you go in universal mind, then it becomes Brahmandiman. Then mind will know everything. When you go to universal mind, our mind becomes Brahmandiman. Like when soul goes back to totality of consciousness, Sachkhand becomes a part of that. Similarly, when our mind goes to the universal mind, then it becomes a part of that universal mind. It's a big thing, also known as Tirkuti or Masalasi. From where this creation was started with the sound Om or Om-Ankar, then we will know everything, how the creation was started. And once mind reach at the universal mind or Brahm, mind stays there. After that, only thing that go beyond time and space and Par Brahm is your Atma and soul, and Satgur and sound. After that, the spiritual journey starts. Huzur Maharaj Baba Sahib Singh used to say, path of the master starts after Par Brahm. Path of the master starts from Par Brahm, beyond time and space. And path of the master is path of love and devotion. Because when you are beyond time and space, you don't need any mantra. Only thing that will take you from there is love and devotion and prema bhakti. No other jog will help you. Not the Dhyan jog, not the Karm jog, not the Sankhya jog, only Bhakti jog. As Krishna Ji Maharaj explained to Arjun, there is a different kind of yoga. There is a Karm jog, there is a Bhakti jog, there is a Sankhya jog, and there is Prema Bhakti, love and devotion. That jog, and that jog is the best. All other jogs are okay. You can do it. You can do all kind of yogas, but they will take you up to certain levels. The best yoga is yoga of love and devotion. Love and devotion. Prema Bhakti, also known as Preet. And Preet can only be done with master. Preet is the highest level of love. There are 3 steps of love. First is Moh, second one is Prem, third one is Preet. The first step of the love is more. More means attachment. We are all attached with our physical things, our family, our friends, our cars, our house. That is just more. And everybody do it. Even all those dangerous animals, including tigers and cheetahs, they do have more attachment with their kids. They will kill animal, but they will never kill their own kids because of more attachment. That's just the base. The second level of love is prem. I loved you, you love me. Yes, Ishwar Guru Maharaj always told that. I loved you, you said you love me. There is I and me and have all been there. And that love or prem involves some sort of exchange. You loved your brother and sister, they loved you. You gave them gift on their birthday, they gave you gift on their birthday. You helping them. If you stop helping them, most of them, they don't even talk to you. Because prem, it is higher than more, but still, it's not a true love. And what is true love? True love is the breath. In that true love or breath, there is no exchange involved. You surrender yourself to the master. You don't expect anything. You just leave everything to your Satguru and follow him. You just leave everything to him. Don't expect anything. You just give away everything. You give away everything. You have no desires, lost nothing, nothing in your mind, nothing left. You just need him only, nothing else. That's the true love. And in true love, there is no judgment. There is no judgment, as Ishwar Puri Maharaj says. In true love, there is no judgment. And true love can only be done with the master, not with anyone else. कूड़ कूड़े न्यो लगा बिसरिया करतार किस नाल कीजिए दोस्ती सब जग चलन हार. Baba Nanaki says, in this materialistic world, nothing is permanent. Whom we can love? Only Master, because he is permanent. Naam Riho, Sadhu Riho, Riho Guru Govind. Only Master, Vaheguru will remain. Everything is a solution. At the end, when we go back, we will say, we are all one. Ad Ant Eko Avatara, Sai Guru Samjyo Humara. From beginning to the end, from end to beginning, there is only one. And we are part of that one. Totality of consciousness. But when we get initiation, when we get self-realization, then we will understand. Then we will understand everything, who we are, and how to go back, how we come here as a perfect master because of our seeking. The secret is seeking, and after the secret is true love. Love and devotion is the key. Love and devotion will take you to from where we came from. Thank you. Please accept my seva and forgive all my mistakes. Please. Thank you, Radha Swami.
All right. Thank you, Prempal, brother Prempal. That was very, very beautiful talk. I loved it. And now we're gonna do 5 minutes of meditation to prepare ourselves for the charging from the words and looks of our perfect master. So we can, after we listen to him and charge ourselves, we can leave this world and enjoy something higher. Okay, 5 minutes of meditation.
in different denominations of religions. And we are so used to going on Sunday to the church for Mass, on the Tuesday to temple for this thing, in the mosque we go for namaz. So all those things we do in a routine way, just as ceremonies, rituals. And then we become satsangis, followers of masters, and we continue to make it a ritual. We make it a ritual if we just do the same things that we did in followers of religion. But spirituality is not religion. Spirituality is a practical way of going within. Spirituality is not based on belief, and certainly not based on blind belief or blind faith. The great master repeatedly said there is no place for blind faith and true spirituality at all. Unless you experience something yourself, do not believe even the word of the master. That's his teaching. You must experience personally what a master is saying. And why we don't experience those things is because we bring our background of ritual and ceremonies of a religion and start applying it here to the teachings of the saints, and we start following the same thing. It's a ritual. We go regularly to the Sunday satsang. We have a nice bandara sometimes. I attended a few bandaras of some masters in this United States, and they said it was a great bandara. I said, really? Food was excellent. So when you make the spiritual gathering into how good the food was, you can see how our emphasis is misplaced. So it is not a ritual. If you do meditation with love and devotion, the love and devotion pulls you more than any mechanical way of sitting or trying to repeat words or do anything. If you want to repeat words, do it with love and devotion, as best as you can express. Some people say, you talk of love and devotion, how do we have it? How do we build it? How do we cultivate it? The same way you cultivate it in the world. How do you love people? How do you feel attached to people? How do you want to meet again and again, talk again and again, spend more time? Do the same thing here. Just do it within yourself. How much time do we give to meditation? I was surprised that we can't even do normal 2.5 hours. Somebody asked Great Master, Master, how much time is good for meditation? He said, well, it's a difficult question because we are involved in so many other things in this world, and so we have to find time from it. But the best is if you can do about 21.5 hours of meditation and leave aside 2.5 hours for other worldly things. Somebody said, Master, how can you do that? He said, well, you can do it like this. For 2.5 hours early morning, you should meditate in the way you have been instructed. The rest of the day, you should do Simran. While you are walking, talking, cooking, doing anything, keep on doing Simran. That's meditation. Then at night, before going to sleep, do your meditation for half an hour or so again, and then go to sleep. If you sleep with meditation as the last thing that you do, the meditation continues throughout your sleep. In fact, if you wake up in the middle, you might still be doing Simran. You'll see that you didn't give it up. So then the whole night gets covered up, then the morning. Then if you have to go to work, if you are in a job, if you have a business, if any kind of activity that requires you to earn your living or something, do it with the thought that this is not for my earning, it is for seva, service to my master. If you are thinking that whatever you are doing is service to your master, it's as good as meditation. Therefore, really speaking, if you follow that lifestyle, you are doing 21.5 hours of meditation, and only when your mind is required for something really intellectual or something complicated, you do 2.5 hours of other work. He says, otherwise, how do you expect meditation to be effective? Look at the balance. You put a balance that you are doing 2.5 hours of meditation, and down the balance goes down to 21.5 hours of other things. You have to bring it up. If you can't do 21.5 hours of meditation, at least make it half and half and bring it up. But don't forget that anything we do in life, any job we do in life, if done with the thought I am doing service to my master and not forgetting what the fruits thereof. If the fruits of what you get out of your work is not the consideration, but seva, service to master is the consideration, it's as good as meditation. And this has been tested out, that if you do that, the result in actual meditation in 2.5 hours, you can see immediately how quickly you make progress because of the meditation done indirectly the rest of the day. So, meditation on the spiritual path should not be taken as a low priority thing to be done early morning or in the evening or whenever you do it. It is supposed to be a way of life. It is supposed to be your life. It should be given priority number one. Now, I have talked to people and I say, what is your priority in life? They say, my priority in life is to look after my family, my priority is to do my job properly. What about meditation? What about the spiritual path? Oh, yes, you have to do that too. That's not laying down the right priority. The right priority is my meditation and my seva, number one. Everything else can be done later. Now, try it out. This is a unique thing that I'm talking to you. If you put this priority number one on the spiritual path, all your worldly activities will fall in place automatically and be done more efficiently than you can do when you make them priority number one. It's such a wonderful thing. We get the master to do everything for us. Master says, if you want me to take over your responsibility, I'll take full responsibility. Not only spiritual responsibility, even worldly responsibility. Just leave it to me. Have trust. I'll do it for you, through you. And when we have that kind of trust, He does it for us. Everything He does for us. Therefore, the way to approach the path of the masters, the way to go over our own hurdles of life is to turn them over to the master. When you talk to the master inside, he is your best friend. You can't have a better friend than him who is unconditionally loving you. A perfect living master loves you no matter if you love him or not. He never judges you. He is not sitting there to punish you. He is sitting there to love you. And if his love is so unconditional, how can you find another friend like that? He's the best friend. And with the best friend, you can share everything. And then he's a strong friend. He's a powerful friend. He can do anything for you. Just let him do it. Great Master said, I give this offer to many people. They can leave their problems to the Master. They don't feel. They say, maybe Master doesn't know the problem fully. Maybe he has to still know. I have to give him some details. And maybe he can't help it. He didn't know about that. If our concept of a Master is this, then naturally we don't trust him to the level that's required. But the truth is that a perfect living Master takes over all your responsibilities, worries and problems if you let him. Of course, if you say, Master, you take my worries, and then after that worry, why did I give it to him? Then naturally you don't expect anything. You have to surrender. In this path, it is surrender to a Master, which in the Western world looks very difficult, because in the Western world we have been trained to rely on the mind. We have been trained to think, more think. When I went to Harvard University in Cambridge, I saw on the walls the word think written. In those days it was fashionable to say think. That's the most important thing, think. And I realized that thinking is the only obstacle we have to spiritual growth. So therefore, it's the thinking that is going on that's coming in the way, and we think and worry so much. We don't need to. I went to a church the other day in Rochester, Minnesota, and church had a very nice sign, which I remember. It says, worry is talking about prayer. The sign there says, worry is praying for failure. That when you worry, you automatically pray for failing. It is not worry leading to success. Because most of the time we worry about things that need not come up at all. I did a seminar once to ask people, what do they worry about? And what have they worried about in the last 3 months? I gave them a piece of paper to write on it. And they wrote all the worries they had. And I said, how many things happened? Many of them, none of them. Some said out of 30 things, 1 happened. Now, if one thing happened demanding your worry, and you worried 30 things, you're worrying 30 times over. You didn't know which one to worry about, so worry about everything. But the Master's grace and love is that you don't have to worry even about one thing. Just learn how to leave it to the Master, talk to him. You have a problem? Go within and talk to the Master. He will listen, always does. If you don't believe it, that's a different matter. Because it is our lack of faith that makes us do this. On the other hand, if religion teaches us blind faith, the Masters tell us how to have living faith, not blind faith. In blind faith, somebody has said God is sitting up there, you start believing God is sitting up there, and then statically you continue to believe it. But in living faith, you only believe what you have experienced and are ready for the next step. You believe this has happened, next can happen, but you believe it when it comes. As more and more experience comes, your faith grows. That's not blind faith. If faith grows every day, it's like a living organism. The faith is growing like something alive, and that's not blind faith. That's living faith. And what we really need is living faith, not a blind faith. But this can only develop if we are ready to surrender and test it out. Everything should be tested out. It's not necessary to believe blindly anything, not even the Guru's word. But you must believe what the Guru's word can be personally experienced, and believe that much, and leave the rest open for more experiences. For example, when you come on the spiritual path, something unusual happens, which has happened in most cases that I know of. That the number of coincidental happenings increases. This is a strange thing, that more coincidences are happening in my life. I open a page of a book and my answer is there. I'm driving on the road and the sign on the road seems to be related to what I was thinking yesterday. These kind of small incidents that happen, which are coincidences, they increase. Why do they increase? The more you meditate, the more they will increase. What's the relationship between an event outside, happening, reading a book or looking at a sign, or some friend that we thought of suddenly comes up from nowhere and meets us? What is the relationship with these outside events with the inside? You will notice that the outside events tie up with your intuitive knowledge, the knowledge without thinking. When you have a hunch, a gut feeling, this should happen, the outside sign comes up to confirm it. You can test it out. So therefore, there's a double check, that don't think that the intuitive knowledge you get is coming from nowhere, it's coming from your soul. It's real knowledge. And when you match it with some coincidence outside and it confirms that, it's a second proof that this is the knowledge of your soul and not the knowledge of your mind. People sometimes tell me, we have developed intuition. I don't know how they develop it. I said, give me an example of a developed intuition. They said, now I want to have an intuition about whether I should go there or not. And I said, okay, let's see. They say, I'm not going there. I said, what is that for? That was the mind thinking. This is not intuition. This is a rapid functioning of the mind. And don't call it intuition. Intuition is when the mind is saying, don't go, intuition says you must. The gut feeling says you go. That intuition, the gut feeling that we get, is actually the voice of the soul. Actually, we might as well call it the voice of God. And when the circumstances outside and the coincidences outside match that, there should be no doubt that's the voice of God. Maulana Rumi as we call him, was asked this question, that people say live in God's will. And how do you know what is God's will? Isn't everything God's will? Even the mind is God's will. All the good and bad we do is all God's will. How do we know what is God's will? And he answers that in a Masnavi of his. He says, if God has put a spade in your hand, he has given his will, dig. If he has put a pen in your hand, he has given his will, write. He has created circumstances around you. If you follow the circumstances and coincidences and act on them, without applying your mind to decide what to do, it's God's will. But if you want to decide with your mind, it's mind's will. It is designed by God, it's designed by the Creator that you should have two wills in this world. This physical world has two wills: God's will or mind's will. Those who follow God's will, we call them Gurmukhs, follower of the Guru. Those who follow the mind's will are called Manmukh, follower of the mind. So these two make us God's, living in God's will or mind's will, depending upon whether we are living in the will of our mind by thinking and deciding what to do, or we're living in the will of God by doing what circumstances and coincidences require us to do, and it matches our intuitive gut feeling. So we have very practical tips. The spiritual path is full of practical tips. And that is why if anybody has a problem on the spiritual path, there's an answer, a solution to that problem, and you must go and find it. If you cannot find the radiant form inside you, which will always give you the right answers, if you cannot find that, then you might as well go to the physical form of the Master and check it out. If you cannot find the Master or he's gone, you can go to an elderly co-traveler on the path, another satsangi, an advanced satsangi, who you know knows little one step more than you, and get the answer. We don't have to look for perfect people. If somebody is advanced of me, we should go. People also point out to me that how can we test out if a guru is a Sat Guru or not, if a guru is a perfect living master or not. Well, you can't judge who is a perfect living master. If you could, you would be a perfect living master. Only a perfect living master can know who is a perfect living master. So we as disciples, as seekers, we can't know, because many of the gurus will teach the same thing. They'll talk the same thing, some even more eloquently than a perfect living master. So the question is, how do we find out who is a perfect living master and who is not? Don't try to find out. If a master tells you go within, go with that master. He's giving you the right direction. A master cannot take you beyond where he has gone himself. Therefore, the master will take you up to the point where he has gone. And if your seeking is still there, you're not satisfied, your soul is not satisfied, another master will come and lead you further. If your soul is not satisfied, a perfect living master will come and take you home. Secret is seeking in your heart. Seeking, even if you are following a master, but you are not satisfied, you must keep on seeking and never stop. It is the duty of the perfect living master to take you home, not your duty. It is the duty of the perfect living master to find a seeker who is not satisfied and take him back home. Your duty is to seek. Only seek within yourself. Go within and ask questions. But do not seek outside, because outside is made up. Inside is from where it is made up. So go back to the seat of consciousness. In our physical body, it's a great advantage to us that in this physical body, we have several centers, like they are ganglions, some of energy and some of awareness. The dividing line are the eyes. The human eyes divide this body into two parts, the one below it and the one above it. Of course, the one below it is a big one, and the above it is a small head, but this is a dividing line. All the centers of activity and control over the different elements of our life are below the eyes. All energetic activities are taking place below the eyes. And in fact, they are taking place in such distinct functions that we can divide them into different centers, which we call the chakras. The lower chakras, or 6 chakras that start from the bottom and then gradually go up through the heart, through the different regions, and reach the eyes and become what they call the 2-petaled lotus, where it ends, and we go back to the spine again down to the bottom. It's a complete circuit. All the energies of the world are confined to these centers. There's no energy, no type of energy that exists outside of these centers. But none of these centers has any higher awareness. They don't awaken you to a new world. They don't awaken you to an entirely new world. They give you wonderful experiences. You can concentrate on your heart chakra, on your heart center, and get an out-of-body experience. You can have a wonderful experience of change of colors and lights. You can have so many experiences, but they don't give you a higher awareness of who you are or what your soul is. The centers of awareness arise from these eyes and go behind and above and not below. The centers of awareness which lead to higher and higher awareness and uncover these outside coverings and give you an idea and an experience of who you really are all in this part of the head. The fact that these centers exist in the human body means you can experience anything you like just by touching your attention on the center. Because what we have in consciousness which is within our control is attention. We have no other power controlling our consciousness except attention. We can put our attention wherever we like. We can't change what we are having experienced. It is just there. But we can attend on this or that or not attend at all and withdraw attention. So therefore the power of a human being to control what his consciousness is aware of by his use of his attention is a secret of good meditation, because you can put your attention wherever you like. If you put your attention on a picture, then you are throwing your attention, focusing your attention on an outward object. It will remain outward. You may get strange experiences, it's still outward. But if you withdraw your attention, not focus, withdraw your attention behind the eyes, inside, you are then withdrawing it to a point from where it's arising, from where it's coming out, which is the seat of your consciousness, the seat of your soul, and mind, and senses, and the body. The soul of all awareness is behind the eyes. Therefore, by withdrawing your attention behind the eyes, you are able to have the experience of going to any of the centers. That's a starting point. The starting point is behind the eyes. If you pull your attention back to behind the eyes and stabilize it there, you can from there move into any of the areas of higher regions. You can see Sachkhand while you are still sitting in the human body. You can see all the other levels of consciousness while sitting in the human body. The body does not die, it's still living. And you have the experience which only will come when you die in the physical body. That's why it's called dying while living. Dying while living means that you have the same experience that you have on death, but you are not dead, you are alive. If you have seen people dying, you will notice that they die in stages. When a person is dying, he first dies in his feet and his hands, in his limbs, and he is not aware where his feet are. He says, put my foot this side, the foot is already this side. You see patients dying in hospitals. And the death proceeds from the extremities to the torso, goes up to the torso. And the patient can still speak, the dying patient can still speak. But when it crosses this and goes to the head, his brain dead, he is dead. There's a process in this. If you do meditation by putting your attention on the third eye center behind the eyes, the seat of consciousness in the wakeful state, the same thing happens. Your consciousness is withdrawn, your awareness is withdrawn from the extremities. First the feet disappear, you don't know where you put the feet. You don't know where your hands are. You keep on withdrawing, it withdraws the limbs, goes to the torso. When it goes above the torso, you feel you're flying. There's no contact left. Then you feel, where are you now? You don't know. But as it goes up and you go here, you're no longer in the body. That's the experience. And yet you are in the body all the time. How did you have this experience? You had the experience because your attention was able to get concentrated on one of the centers within the body that enabled you to have an out-of-body, a bodiless experience. When you have an experience without the body, you open up a new experience of another body altogether. The other body opens up a world which is different from this and corresponds to the level of that body. It follows the laws of nature of that body, just like this world follows the laws of the material body. Material laws disappear. Here we are bound to a planet by gravity. We can't fly with our bodies. There is no gravity in the very next stage. You'll find you can fly. Nothing is stopping you. Here you have to use language to communicate with people. And if I speak French and he speaks English, I don't know English, I don't understand him. In that plane, astral plane, just behind the eyes, by putting your attention there, You speak in any language, the other person understands, no matter what their language is. Communication is totally different. Communication is based upon what you mean by the words that you're saying. Other person understands the meaning of what you said, but then translate it into his language. There's so many other differences between this life and that life. This is being created by the material physical body, and that's being created by your astral sensory body. When you go higher up, you go to this mental state where the mind alone exists, and no senses and no body. You go into the world of concepts and ideas, and those concepts and ideas are what mind was creating to use and create all the other things in the world. You go to that world, and a very strange experience happens. Here, we think a soul can make a body alive, whether it's a plant, or it's an insect, or an animal, or a human being. A soul is life-giving, it makes life. There you find that even concepts, even forms, like I'm giving you an example. What is a triangle? A triangle is a shape. We draw it on paper here. But can you imagine a soul can be a triangle in the causal plane? What is color? We see a color and we think it's just one of the attributes, one of the coverings. And a color can be a soul there. All the building blocks of lower forms are available there, and inhabited by souls, they become living things. Sound becomes a living thing, absolutely alive like us. Now here is a possibility of having a totally different experience. But of course the best experience comes when you leave all these experiences, which are all taking place in time and space, and cause and effect and karma. When you leave all these and go up beyond that to Par Brahm, which you cannot go at all, according to me, except with the help of a perfect living master. Yes. Sant Satguru can take you there because he operates from there even when he's sitting as a human being with us. A perfect living master is not one who has done something, studied and come back to tell us. When he's telling us while all that is open to him at that time. He doesn't have to learn and teach us something. He's teaching from an experience he's having right when he's teaching, when he's telling us. So, such a person takes us through love and devotion. All the other things are to take the steps for the first three steps. And love and devotion then take you to that next step. Then you discover you were none of these things. These were created experiences, just to have an experience. We were just here temporarily to see how we can have different experiences in a different setting. That our reality was that we are full of light. Our light, compared to physical light, even of a soul, is equal to 16 suns of the solar world put together. Each soul shines like that with light. Of course, the light of knowledge is even more. Light of knowing is even more. But even light as we understand it, which is visible. Visible light is so much there. And yet, that visible light is sitting in us even now. See how much we have covered it up that nobody can see it. And there you see it for the first time, and you know who you are. That's our reality. First time we discover who we are. Then our real journey begins. Unless we know who we are, we're traveling on somebody else's journey. But when we know who we are, our journey starts. Then the journey takes us from a knowledge of the soul to the knowledge of that which creates a soul. That is totality. It's one. The many are being experienced within the one. There is nothing beyond that one. All this show we are seeing is also taking place in the one. All the souls are part of that one. And to cross over from an individuated state where we think there are so many souls there, to the state where there's only one, is the last part of the journey and the real spiritual journey. And that a perfect living master alone can take, because
All right, my holy family, it's time to start the journey towards the light of knowledge, towards love, and leave this headache world. So let's forget about the world outside and the body below and come up here to the doorway of the kingdom of God. Repeat the holy name slowly at intervals with the tongue of thought, or listen to the holy Shabd. And I wish you the best meditation. I hope to see you tomorrow for another holy day in Holy God. Thanks for coming.